Hey everybody, my name is Mariusz. I will talk about the high availability network. How you can build a high availability network in cloud, how you can use the Oracle Cloud Always Free tier to build your high availability network and use the resources which are available in Always Free tier to learn how you can do this. Okay? Okay, my name is Mariusz, and we will talk about the high availability network. I will show you how to use the Oracle Cloud to build a high availability network, understand what you can do and how you can do this. In the simple form, the high availability network is the network without the single point of failure. And I have a parrot in my room that you can hear them. The single point of failure is where you have a single server, single application. The single point of failure, which if that point failed, that your application is not available. That when you're building the network for your application, this is the web application or the mobile application, you need to consider the dual functionality. You have to consider that you have two application servers. If you have the application which support the high availability model, which application which can come to both servers, can store data in two database servers, and can return the back information. Okay. But now, focusing on how we can build this high availability model in Oracle Cloud. Oracle Cloud provides the three availability domain in the region. Oracle have multiple regions, like also the other cloud providers which have multiple regions, and within those regions you have a different availability domain. What is the availability domain? Availability domain is the independent data center which are apart between each other in that region. Between those data centers, there is a high-speed network infrastructure which provide a very low latency in the communication between the equipment servers which are inside each availability domain. Now, in each availability domain, there are the three fault domain, the fault domain 1, 2, and 3. Now, each fault domain is separated based on the network power and infrastructure. This way, if there is even in the single, when you have a region where you have only the single availability domain, then you still are able to create a high availability model using the fault domain, where you're putting the one server in the fault domain 1, second server in fault domain 2. This way, if something is happening to the fault domain 1, your service is provided by the servers and application which is in the fault domain 2. Okay, now as we understand the structure and infrastructure which is available for us, how we can create our network. The first, we are creating the subnet. The subnet is the region subnet. But now, when you're creating this region subnet, then you can put the servers in each availability domain, and this will be seamless for you. That you can put the one server in the availability domain 1 for fault domain 1, and here we'll have a 1. Then in the availability domain 2, for domain 1, we can have up to. And respectively, you can keep growing your network as you grow. This is the sample for the always free tier installation. Now, the load balancer. The load balancer is the region load balancer. That means you creating the service load balancer, and that load balancer will be able to connect to the subnet, which is across all three for the availability domain. This doesn't. Okay. In the scenario where we have a single availability domain, where there is the region, and in that region you don't have the multiple availability domain, but you have a single availability domain, then you're putting the load balancer in this availability domain, and then your server in the for domain 1 and then for domain 2. This way, even in the scenario where you have a limitation of the availability domains, you're still able to build your infrastructure using the you're still able to bring the build infrastructure for the high availability model. Okay, and steps to build the network. Right, that now, as we understand the infrastructure which Oracle provides to us, what we have to do to build our network. First, we have to create the compartment. By the default, there is the root compartment, but you want to organize your account into different compartments based on the functionality for that compartment. It's always good to start right way. That will create an app compartment. Then we'll create virtual cloud network using the wizard. It is the simple way to build the network. Using the wizard, it will create the private subnet, public subnet, security list, routing table, internet gateway, NAT gateway, and service gateway. Okay, what is this? Private subnet is the internal network which don't have a connectivity with outside. It means from outside, from public, you cannot connect to the private network. Private subnet can go to the public through the NAT gateway. Public subnet is using the internet gateway, which allow for the incoming and outgoing communication with the public internet. And in the public network, we will set the load balancer and we'll set our servers that we will have a communication with the public, that we can communicate with those servers. Internet gateway allow communication with within the public subnet to go out and come in to the network. That we will have the web server will use that internet gateway to communicate with the internal servers. Security list are the rules which are protecting the subnet, which will define what is allowed, what is not allowed for the communication coming in and out, egress and egress rules. The routing table is defining the routes between the different subnets, between different VCNs. As we will be using right now just single VCN, that routing table is the default, will not do much changes here. The service gateway The service gateway allows the communication with internal Oracle services, like the object storage, the file system, the Oracle databases. Okay, now once we have a VCN set, we'll create the virtual servers. Now each server in the different fault domain. That we can use the fault domain 1, 2, we can use the 1 availability domain and 2 fault domains. Then we'll create the reserved IP address for load balancer. Why reserved? Because when we reserve the IP address, then that IP address will belongs to this tenancy. Okay, it belongs to you until you will remove that reserved IP address. If you delete, okay, when you create the load balancer, you have option to assign random IP address. But the moment when you delete this load balancer, that random IP address will be removed, and next time you will get new IP address. But when you reserve, that now you have this IP address associated with your account, and you can use this reserved IP address to connect to this load balancer, or later you can move to another load balancer, whatever reason you need. But now you will have your IP. And now every DNS entry which you create for that IP will stay, because that IP it's yours. It belongs to this tenancy. If you have the random IP address, then every time when you recreate load balancer and you have the DNS entry connected to that IP address, you will have to modify this DNS entry, and automatically the service will be disrupted. Okay, now once we create a reserved load balancer, we are ready. Once we create reserved IP address, we are ready to create load balancer. Now to create load balancer, we're going to load balancers, and then we setting the backend and listener. The backend service will set to our 2 VM servers, which we already configured in the previous steps, and then we'll configure the listener, a listener of port 80 at the beginning, that we can validate the communication from public to load balancer and then to servers. Right? Now, this will complete the setup of the high availability network. Once we set this up, we will be able to test the high availability. We'll be able to start each server and see that the service is still available. Okay, I would like to invite you to join to Always Free Cloud Facebook group, where we will continue this discussion and this presentation, and we'll go through the setup of this network. See you in the next video.